So, can you tell us, tell me about yourself, please?
Sure. Katie, are you frozen?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just waiting for you to go. Hello. Um, I'm Katie and I'm one part of Not Tied Theatre, which is myself and Rona. I'm based in Edinburgh in Scotland, and we're both Scottish. And we are bringing Mary a gig theatre show to the Fringe, and I am the director. Rona, take it away.
I'm Rona. I'm also based in Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm the writer and also kind of lead performer of Mary and the other half of Not Tied Theatre with Katie. We met in uni and we made this show together. We're very, very excited about it.
Brilliant. So, can you tell me about your show?
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we decided to do a module at uni about gig theatre, and from that it came about as a little 15-minute performance that was just me and Katie, and then there was an opportunity to do it at a festival, so we made it a little longer and it became a kind of whistle stop tour of Mary's life and her kind of emotional journey. And I feel like there's a lot of um perception about Mary that's very like male focused, and it's kind of about how she was it's all about like the fact that she's a woman, and her and Elizabeth and their
Rona, which Mary? You've not told us which Mary.
Mary Queen of Scots. Mary Stuart. But yeah, basically I just wanted to write a story that focuses on her emotional journey and her relationship with Elizabeth and really flesh that out, because I think there's a lot of kind of two-dimensional views on it, and the fact that there are two women that are pitted against each other so much in history, and I thought it would be nice to have a new outlook on that relationship.
And it's told through gig theatre. So it's an all-female band. There's 6 of them. And it is a folk rock score, all written by music and lyrics written by Rona, and then all of the girls came in and wrote their own parts for their instruments. There's drums, bass, guitars, Scottish fiddle, harmonica, and 3 vocals on there. And yeah, it's gig theatre, so it's the band telling the story and they play for the full 50 minutes.
Oh, that sounds really exciting.
Cool.
So have you done Fringe before? Like, with
Yes. But this is our first time like bringing our own company, really. So we in 2022 I did Curtains, which is a Candor and Ebb murder mystery musical, which was great fun. And Rona, you were in Oliver that year.
I was with Captivate Theatre. I was in the ensemble for Oliver, which is a very big show. And then the next year, me and Katie worked together for a show that our friend had written from uni, and it was a much smaller thing. And now we're doing Mary. So we've done it the last few years.
So, what pieces of advice have you been given, or that you would like to share, like with my audience, so to speak?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that you really need to just attack it, attack the fringe. I think that we are super lucky in being based in Edinburgh, and so we don't have as many financial pressures as other people do, and having to, come from London, and Edinburgh is a very expensive city. So we're very lucky in just being here already. But I guess the advice and kind of way of attacking the fringe that I've seen other people do is kind of, and that's what we're doing with Mary, is do a small version or do a tester version of your fringe and then come back the next year and do it bigger. So maybe do a week in a small venue and then come back the next year in a bigger venue and do the full thing. And I think that is my advice, and that's has been so helpful doing fringes the last couple of years. Doing it like 3 days last year is all we did, but what we've learned from that we can then bring forward this year. And yeah, so do it small first and then do it big. Lose less money.
It sounds great that you're actually in Edinburgh. I live all the way down south near Dover, Kent, so I'm like miles away. So if I need to plan anything, it'd take about a day to get up to you, then a day to get back. So it's not sort of I'm near. I'm nearer to London. I can get to London like in about an hour and a half. What would you say the most challenging thing about performing at the Fringes that's like different to other like theatre?
I would say with the Fringe, it's so massive and you're really trying to stand out. Like it's about like flyering and getting your show out there and doing things like this, talking to people about the show and getting out there. And also the fact that it's such a quick turnaround with the Fringe. Like we have 10 minutes to get all our equipment in there and get out. So you really got to practice what you're doing and use your time wisely and really make the show as good as it can be with the amount of time you have. And then hopefully you can stand out amongst all these shows and get people to come and see it.
Yeah, I think that the get in and get out quick situation is super difficult and definitely one of the most challenging, especially when we're doing gig theatre. Setting up a live band and taking that down in 10-15 minutes and 5 to get out. It's quite terrifying.
We're thinking of getting our sound check in while audience are coming in. We're trying to cheat our way through time.
Yeah. I think the other challenging thing about doing the Fringe though, and I guess the level we're at is like, you know, Fringe is like scrappy, everyone's doing it around other full-time jobs. And so that is the challenge, is like trying to schedule rehearsals, and because everyone is giving it their absolute all to their Fringe, but they need to make money as well. And as we said, Edinburgh's expensive to even be living in, so like getting everyone together to rehearse and stuff is also a big challenge, but we're managing so far.
You said on flyering. Have you got anything that you're going to do, say, differently this year?
Well, I think because we have because we have all of the girls playing instruments, I think we'll definitely use that on the streets and play little snippets of music, especially Esther Irving in our cast. She plays the fiddle, and I think that having a Scottish fiddle player in the show is really is a good unique selling point, and so I think we'll try to use that. And we're releasing a couple of songs from the show as well, so we can play that in the streets a little bit, I guess.
So what would be your do you have like a survival kit for the Fringe that you might not, that other people might not necessarily know about? That because I speak to people coming from like down my end, or I've spoken to someone coming from Australia. So is there anything that you can suggest?
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking that, you know, the food trucks, the street food trucks at the Fringe, they're great, but they're very expensive. And just near where everything's happening, there's a little bakery. And little bakeries are very affordable. So I'm gonna say, like, it's literally in between Pleasance and Gilded Balloon. You've got that little bakery. I think it's a lifesaver. Instead of the food truck, get yourself a little. Rona,
You're kind of cutting out.
you work. Thanks.
Could you say that one again? You cut out for me, sorry.
Oh, I think I'm back.
Yeah.
No, yeah, my internet's gonna be a bit funny. I was just asking Rona, what are your hats? And
Well, I wholeheartedly agree on that one. That's a good one. Actually, I think I think also like be open to like people who flyer. I think so many people like have like they're like, oh God, I hate the flyering. But I think so many people have so many fun shows to advertise to you, and you like find out about a lot of smaller shows that way as well. So I think that's a good way to find things to fill your time with, especially because a lot of people flyer like right before their show's on. So it's like if you're kind of looking for something to do and you've got some spare time, then like listen to the flyers, you know.
yeah.
Who would you say is your ultimate dream audience member? Who would love your show?
Ooh. I think we do like we have a vibe that is very like we've been compared to kind of like the last dinner party and things like that. So I think yes, a young audience, but me personally, I feel like I would love if it was someone from like an older generation who maybe knew a lot about Mary and stuff like that and they approved of the show. Like I think it would be a big compliment if it's someone kind of established or they know their stuff, like a Mary historical fan, and then they watch it and they enjoy it. I think that would be a really nice experience for me, at least, because it would be like vindication that it was a good show.
So, going over to more general questions now. What would you say your most memorable theatre experience has been? Sorry, 1 second.
Oh,
Most memorable.
most memorable theatre experience in general. Oh, maybe. One of my most memorable is actually with Captivate Theatre, who are an Edinburgh-based amateur theatre company, but they do ridiculously high standard big musicals. It was the 2019 Fringe, which was the last one before COVID, and they did Jekyll and Hyde, and Jekyll and Hyde the musical, and it was just phenomenal. It was so atmospheric. The person they had playing Jekyll and Hyde was beyond Broadway standard, and I remember there's not an opportunity to clap in that show until quite far in. And when I think it's about half an hour in, when the opportunity came, like people stood up in that after that song, and then standing ovations went on for a long time at the end, and then I went back to see it again because it truly is one of the most brilliant things I've seen. It was directed by Tom Mullins, and he's excellent. But yeah, I think that has beaten many like professional productions. I think it is in the Rose Theatre as well, which is such an atmospheric space. It's like a converted church in Edinburgh. It's a very cool thing.
It's sort of amazing what like the talent of some of the performers that are like in amateur and fringe theatre. It's just but more like amateur theatre, so it's just like wow. Even at school, like even school productions. So is there a production that you wish you sort of could have seen that you weren't lucky enough to see?
There's a lot of the National Theatre live streams they did. There's a lot of those that I think I would have loved to have seen in person, like the even just for their set pieces. Like they did 12th Night and they had these massive like set pieces that would go on a little turnaround thing, and they had water, like they had a fountain or something, and I thought it was so amazing. And I love seeing like big shows with massive like set pieces on them. I think it's so impressive and cool. So I think one of the kind of big National Theatre ones I would have loved to have seen in person.
It's so amazing, like not necessarily to do with the budget, but when you go and see a show, like with transforming the theatre from just a blank canvas is exceptional.
Mhm.
Is there a production that you would like wish you could have seen? Have I asked that question? I'm going mad today. Sorry.
I've answered that question, but Katie, you could. I'm sure you've got plenty
Mhm.
you could think of.
Yeah, so many. At the moment, I really want to see people, places, and things. I think so many people have came and told me that that was the most incredible theatrical experience that they've had. And I know it's on again for a short run at the moment, but I don't think I'll get a chance to see it in London. But yeah, I'm very intrigued by that, and I would love to see that because I think a lot of musicals people come out and say that it was such an incredible experience and really moving because there's music in it, but plays are not so often people come out saying, oh, you have to go and see this. It was so atmospheric. So when people can do that, when a play really impacts and such a mass audience, then I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I went to see 222 A Ghost Story last week,
Mm.
and I'm more used to going to see like more comedy and stuff and like musicals. So it's completely different, like to anything I've ever seen. It was really good, but it wasn't sort of. Maybe I'll go back there in a few years. I don't know, but because I'll probably go back into the West End after this run. But it's sort of different to like say seeing Cabaret, which I saw a couple of weeks ago for the first time. So it's two different. Like 222 was good, but Cabaret was completely different. It was like a night out. It was more than going to the theatre.
Yeah.
So on to like that sort of thing. Who would you say your heroes are?
Oof. I mean, heroes in terms of I mean, like life, I would say my mom. But like in terms of like music and theater and stuff, I would say like a lot of the sort of singer-songwriters that were kind of like upcoming, like about in the sort of 60s and 70s, and like the sort of vibe of when you just had like a guitar and your songs and you just like took your music out there, and even just like modern day stories like that. Like you get like Chapel Roan recently, like she has been rising up, and I've loved seeing that. I just love when you see someone who is so clearly passionate about their craft getting the recognition they deserve, and I think it's amazing. And I would love one day for that kind of thing to happen to one of us. Like, I think it'd be so cool. But yeah, just anyone who you can tell is so like passionate about what they do, and then they get their chance. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. My hero, who I think is very well known to a lot of people, that is my hero, but it's Lin-Manuel Miranda because I just think it's so incredible to have written a musical and to have been the lyricist, the book writer, the composer, to have done every aspect, been on so many musicals. It's one person does the book, one person does the lyrics, and to have done all of that and then to have performed in it and to have a masterpiece where everything is so clever. I just think it's incredible. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's sort of like it's just really good. I've still not seen Hamilton, which is awful of me. But it's so sort of like even the score is really good from like listening to the cast album. So this is sort of in the same sort of thing. If you could have a dinner party, say 5 or 6 people, with anybody past or present, who would it be?
Anybody, past, present.
Wow. What a question.
Hmm.
I mean, okay, Lin-Manuel is going on my table because if he's my hero, then he's got to be there.
Mhm. If I was gonna like talk songwriting with someone, I really love Hosier so much. He's like a big inspiration for my lyrics. So I'd get him on there and get some tips, I think. I love him.
I'm gonna throw in Billie Eilish onto there. I think she's incredible for such a young age, and to have someone of a similar age to hang out with at the dinner party that's so talented would be lovely, and to get the inside scoop.
I think I'd want like someone, I don't know, like Nina Simone, or just like a really big powerhouse like singer that I could just like listen to stories from about the industry that she was in at the time. I think that'd be amazing.
And oh my goodness, past or present, we've got to have Mary Queen of Scots on the
You're
table.
so right. We're terrible.
Wait, and yeah, and let's get Elizabeth on, and we can finally sort this out. Yeah, it's got to be them.
We lost you too.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I'm just getting.
Oh, that's so fine. I thought maybe you'd froze.
I've got 2 documents full of questions, where some of them are sort of I've already asked you, so I'm just sort of.
You're so prepared. You got all these questions.
So, who would you say your favourite sort of character is in the play?
We have a really funny bit where Jodie Kirkwood, who's one of the singers, she comes on kind of briefly to play Darnley, who's Mary's second husband. And it's just a really fun little moment where it gets a big laugh from the audience, and there's a lot of like darkness in the show and a lot of sad moments. So it's like a really nice little light-hearted bit where everyone laughs and she gets this like shining moment as a funny character. So I like her little stint as Darnley.
Yeah, and throughout it is like Rona kind of leads the whole thing for the full 50 minutes and kind of does a monologue. Yeah, you do a monologue really, as Mary, but the other girls in the band also play the 4 Marys. So Mary Queen of Scots travelled around with 4 other Marys, also all called Mary. They were just a travelling group of Marys. And I love that fact, and I love that that's been incorporated into the show. So I guess I love all the Marys. It's Mary Seton, Mary Beaton, Mary Livingston, and Mary Fleming. And they're all they're all cool. So I'm just glad that we managed to incorporate that into the show.
So, if people want to find out about you, where can they follow you on social media, or do you have a website?
All of the above. Yeah, we have a very active Instagram, which I'm in charge of. I post a lot on there. But we also have a Twitter and a TikTok, and Katie's made this beautiful website. Our social media handles are all mary.gigtheatre, and the website is Not Tied Theatre. I think that's it. Yeah. So yeah, you can find us online all those places, and obviously if you look us up on the Fringe or the Space UK website, you can find us under the theatre sections, Mary Gig Theatre Show.
And then hopefully in July/start of August, you'll be able to find us on Spotify and streaming platforms with some of the songs. That depends how quickly of a turnaround we can get these songs out in, but we finished recording them last night. So hopefully we'll get them mixed and released.
That sounds amazing. So where can we what are the dates that you're going to be performing?
So we're doing our Fringe run in the second week of the Edinburgh Fringe. So the 12th to the 17th of August, so Monday to the Saturday. In the first week of Fringe, we will be out and about, which is, again, lucky for us because we're in Edinburgh. So we'll be doing some busking events, and then keep an eye on our socials, I guess, for some dates in the future as well, beyond the Fringe. Nothing confirmed yet, but keep an eye out. And you might be able to see Rona at a little gig before that. You're often out and about doing a gig.
And so, in 3 words, why should people come and see your shop?
Bold Nick Fear.
Rocking live music.
That's brilliant, thank you. So I'm gonna just stop the recording because we're done.